Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I am your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back, everyone, to the podcast of Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. And this is going to be my spoiler review for episode 5, The Penguin, which is on Max. And again, if you have not seen any of those shows, pause this, give me a thumbs up, because guess what? That would help my YouTube channel in so many ways, and I would just appreciate it. And go watch all that, and then check out all my previous spoiler reviews to that show and any other show that I review. Check them out, and then check those out. And I would love to hear your guys' opinions about this show in the comments below. And I would love to hear your guys' theory or where you guys think this Penguin series is going to take us. So, again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Let's get into it. Episode 5 continues on after the shooting. Penguin burns his purple car, to obviously hide the evidence and make sure they can't trace him. And Penguin and Victor have a big brother, little brother moment where they kind of patch things up and talk about what's next. And you hear Victor apologize. And now we see throughout this whole episode, Victor is more willing and motivated to get his hands dirty. This is the point where Victor has leaned into the crime life. And now he's technically the bad guy, one of the goons, And we see that dynamic change with him throughout this episode. Penguin decides to kidnap Maroni's son after finding his TikTok account. So apparently TikTok exists in the Matt Reeves The Batman universe. That's pretty cool. And they're going to get the son, Taj Maroni. Penguin chats with Sal Maroni and Nadia Maroni and says that he'll give their son back to him for the mushrooms. And they come up and agree that they'll meet at this certain spot. And throughout this episode, we see Penguin plan that he's going to turn on them, and he's just figuring out how he's going to do that, how he pulled this off with a small crew that he has, as he gives a pep talk about it with this episode. And so after that, we get another scene after that conversation where Penguin pays a crooked guard to shank Sal Maroni. Penguin then, as he's walking out, he sees the TV and the news is on, and he sees that the Falcone family has been murdered. And you can tell Penguin in a way knows that Sophia did it, and he just goes by the instinct that he knows, that he just believes. And then that next scene, we see Officer Chief Bach, who we see in the Batman movie. He's investigating everything and asking Sophia questions to maybe get some clues out or even some evidence. And in a way, he's kind of threatening her that, she's going down with them. Like, they would love to put another member of the Falcone family in jail if they have in the past. But it's not going to be that easy, because as we see that, Sophia mentions in a way where she's implying that she has evidence on them and she could blackmail them after the fact that this police officer made a statement where the new mayor is quote unquote cleaning the streets of Gotham. So that's why she implies that. And obviously this police officer is looking for Johnny VD, but he doesn't know that Sophia has Johnny VD locked up. And in that, we see him chained up and out of his clothes, kind of beaten up. And as they're talking, she gives him a chance to be loyal to her. and she pours like the coldest water on him because it's cold outside. And what's interesting is we can see that when it gets to the Batman 2, which I'm betting they're going to have a different title to that movie, but we see it's getting closer to winter. And we know from reports that the Batman 2 is going to be based in the winter. So they're already setting up what season's going to be when that movie hits theater. Not like when the release date, but within this show and the Batman universe of this. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see that. And as she does that, Johnny V is trying to give her this story, which I believe it's true, and just trying to, make her come to her sense that he believes. Because from his view, she's crazy. And so we get that a lot. Now, the next scene, we get the Penguin again, and he has to lay low, and he has Victor hide his mother to a spot that he just has to figure out and choose. Then it goes back, and we learn that Sophia's mom is Johnny V's cousin, and he explains that her mother had planned to leave Carmine Falcone and take both her and her brother at the time, but obviously that didn't work out, and we see Johnny just kind of explain how much devastated that was for him personally. And there's some truth probably to it, but he's trying to find his way to weasel out from death. And I guess it worked because later in this episode he's back in his suit and he's ready to do some business. But we go back to the Penguin and we see the Penguin pouring gasoline on Taj Maroney. And when they finally meet with his mother, the trade gets a little sketchy. His plan starts falling to pieces because he had this big plan from start to finish, and from now throughout this whole episode to the end of this episode, his plan starts falling to pieces, and we see Penguin have to come up with a new plan. And what I mean by that, they had a little shootout, and Taj Maroney, are hugging and he's hugging his mother. He's just glad to be safe because he was scared. And as things was about to get nasty, Penguin pulls out a lighter and lights up that gasoline, and they both go to burn, and they both die due to the flames. And this is definitely showing how much a savage the Penguin is. And you can see with the cosmetics all over his face and body. But I just like how it was done because you could see that evil smirk of enjoyment of him doing that. Like, he got the Maronies. But unfortunately, the dad didn't die. Sal Maroni survived the stabbing, and Sal Maroni leaves the prison. How, I don't know. But before that, they finally checked the mushrooms, and the mushrooms are dead. Like, he touched them, they just started crumbling up. And that's when he got that phone call for Sal Maroni. But Penguin lets him know, like, hey, call your wife and see if she answers. And, I mean, that was dirty. Like, dang, he's just going to rub that in his face, pretty much. But we know that Sal Maroni's in the cabins in the woods. And now, what's really interesting about these particular woods is, in a way, it's another Poison Ivy reference too, like, in a way, but it's not official. Like, but if you look at like last week's episode 4, where they're in the greenhouse, you would think that little girl could be the future Poison Ivy, but I don't think that's the case. But this one was a small reference to Poison Ivy in a way, because that's in Gotham City, that's one of the places that she would, stay at, and not in that cabin, but in those particular woods. So I thought that was pretty interesting too. But I don't know if they're actually trying to purposely tease Poison Ivy in this, the the Batman universe. As far as I know, I don't know, but that was just a small thing that I noticed. Sophia gets a visit from Dr. Julian Rush, and he wants to join her, and obviously he's in love with her in his own twisted way. And it seems like she's okay with it because Sophia has a meeting and she changes everything up. She's not using the Falcone's last name, but she's using her, I believe this is her mother's maiden name or last name, and which is Sophia Gigante. Everybody's freaking out, and of course, she admits to everybody that she murdered the rest of her family, and that's where we see Johnny VD get shot in the head because, he's like, whoa, 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 this is not like, but she's like, nah, this is it. And all the other goons in there accept it because she offered them more money and they're going to be treated a lot better, so they're all about it. And so they take the cash, and of course, Dr. Julian Rush is all about that. I don't know if he took a cut, but if I was him, I would have ran over there and grabbed the money, but that's just me, but he did it, so. And then it goes back to Victor, and we see Victor takes Penguin's mother to Ground Point. This is the neighborhood that he lived in before the explosions by the Riddler and his crew. And we see a guy that bullied him, and Victor gets very scared, and he's trying to sneak Penguin's mother, and they go to this abandoned building to hide, but nothing happens, so I'm pretty sure in episode 6 that it'll probably be a whole episode about that. But when Penguin arrives, Penguin has a plan, and he knows it's not working. And obviously, Penguin's mother gets really mean to him about this, and it just, wow, she's the reason why he's motivated. And again, we see Penguin making a new plan as he preps up before seeing Victor and his mother. But Sophia finds Sal Maroni, and she offers a team up, work together, but he's not interested in it, so he gets shot. She's planning to get revenge on the Penguin anyway, but we get a moment between Penguin and his mother, and like I said, she's upset. And this kind of shows us how much of a mama's boy that he is in this episode. Like, we see that, only way he's going to get that motherly love from her is he's got to pretty much earn it. And the way he has to do it is only one way. And she don't care how he does this. He just wants him to be ruthless. But we notice that his mother, has like dementia or something. And we see that when Penguin and Victor are having a conversation, he brings out that baseball glove and says this is his brother, and he mentions that they used to live in an apartment like this, and this is very personal for him. But we see another softer side of like, Penguin's only doing this for his mom and give his mom a better life, to take care of her. And obviously, his girl, his lady friend, she's like, I can't be with you unless you get your stuff straight, So he's doing this for love in his mind, and he's trying to justify everything with that. And we see Victor, learning and leaning into that stuff too. But then they head on out, and they go to this underground trolley, and they decide to use this as a layer to grow those mushrooms. And it's kind of funny because that's where Batman's Batcave is at. It's like an underground trolley, and in a way, they're kind of connected if they walk that way or whatever Batman does and Penguin does. But I thought that was pretty cool. That was a pretty much close reference to Batman, that he exists. They acknowledge Batman in a way. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, let's get into some topics. Now, let's talk about Sophia. So she changed her last name. And she's using her mother's name, Gante. And I think that's pretty interesting twist to it. And I believe that I believe they're setting this up for her to meet her sister and stuff, Catwoman and Celine Kyle. And I don't know if it's gonna happen on this show. Probably not. But I think in the near future, I think in a way, I don't think she's gonna get killed off on this show. But I really like between her and Penguin. It's like a parallel in a way. Like they're both trying to build their version of an empire and success, like the Maronis and Sophia's father, Carmine Falcone, did, but in their own way. And they're in a way, they're both starting from the bottom. Now, let's not get it twisted. Sophia, she's got a lot of money. She got all her family's money. Penguin's is going to buy the money that he has, that he gets off the streets every day, you know. So it's a lot of different, but in Penguin's mind, she's probably on top of the mountain, but in her mind, Penguin's in her way, and so when the gang war actually happens, goes down, probably on the last episode of this season, it's gonna be an all shootout. But I think both of them are gonna survive and live on, and I think they got a bigger use for those two particular characters for the next Batman movie. So that's where I think that's going on with that. Now the next topic is Victor. I think Victor is going to be the one that might get killed off. I think he's the weakest link if they had to, but I also see, just based on this particular episode, that he might not get killed off. Like they might do a whole season where none of the main characters get killed off. And I think that's the route that they're probably going to go, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. So, but I really liked how Victor was portrayed in this episode too, because remember when they got Taj Maroni, Victor started throwing hands at him. Like he started getting tough. Like he's trying to really impress the Penguin, but we also see him still have his fear and make mistakes. Like he fell asleep, watching Penguin's mother. But you gotta remember that he's trying this time. He's more willing to do this. And when we saw that guy who was in that neighborhood's local drug dealer, he's probably bullied him and made fun of him for his stuttering. And I believe episode 6 could probably show like Victor, overcoming that fear and standing up to that particular bully of his. And obviously the Penguin's going to motivate him to do that. But I think we're seeing the path where Victor gets more ruthless and gets more aggressive with it, gets more savage with it, like the Penguin did to Taj Maroni and his mother Nadia when he burned him alive, pretty much. And I think we're gonna get Victor to get to that level of savage, and this is the beginning of that. Like we've seen the soft side, kind of scared and weak, but I think they're gonna build up to more him being tough, having tougher skin, being more street smart, and I think he has a lot of pressure on him, and I think he's gonna give it his best this time than he has in the past episodes. So this is definitely what I liked about that too is this is definitely a character you're seeing get added another layer to the character, and we're seeing him now in a way involved in a way, and he's going to become the person that he believes he wants to be and the way Penguin sees him. So it's going to be very interesting and cool to see that happen. I just don't know when, but I would say the next episode for sure. Now, what another thing that I liked about this is just the cinema photography to this. I love the way Sophia wore these particular dress, and I like how she is not ashamed of her scars and wounds that you see like on her shoulder and neck. And I like how she's smartening up and being more of a more boss lady like, and she's becoming more ruthless aggression with it. So I think that's really cool, and I can't wait to see this character show more of a side of her that we haven't seen yet. And I believe there's gonna be a moment throughout this season too where Sophia is gonna, you know, if she has any weaknesses, she's gonna get rid of them. And she's gonna make a lot of sacrifices, and she's gonna make tough choices that, that may make her sick to her stomach, but I think she's gonna go through it. And another thing is, I believe that she's gonna have a lot of people who are loyal to her. And I always think too, in theory, that I can see in this season where she's recruiting people from Arkham Asylum because they're crazy, and in her mind, she has Dr. Julian Rush who could maintain them, control them in the sense like the way they kind of did that to her when she was locked up in Arkham Asylum. So I can see that happening too, but she's definitely going to have a big army of some goons and thugs for sure. And I can't wait to see that. And I just like the way, too, with now she's showing more confidence, too. So I like that. Too, that was one of my favorite things that I liked about this episode. So, but if I had to give this review 1 out of 10, I'm definitely giving this a 10. I'm loving the story, and I'm loving how they're not giving you too much, and they're not giving you too less. It's just right in the middle. It's like a happy medium. And, they're not teasing so much, and they're not trying to tie in every story or everything that happened in the first Batman film, too. But I do like now they're kind of giving us a little bit of Batman references. Even though they're subliminal and you got to really look for them, but they're there. So I'm liking that. So I can't wait for this, and honestly, I'd personally hope for a season 2. So, but that's my review, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official Channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.